You guys may not have heard of Jackson Lahmeyer. I have talked about him before, but it's been a while. He is running for Congress. It's this guy on screen right here if you're watching rather than listening. This clip is from early August 2021. I want to introduce you to Jackson Lahmeyer because, as I said, he's running for Congress. It's important that we know who he is, what he believes, and some of the crazier things that he espouses. So let's watch this. Early August 2021, this is his response to the possibility that maybe the government could hold another lockdown. Wasn't going to happen at this point. This was this is less than a year ago at this moment when this is being filmed. This was less than a year old. The government really had no serious intentions of holding another lockdown. But let's just see what he had to say about it.
Now, I got news for you today. Here at Sheridan, this is a group of people. We don't bow to tyrants either. We don't do it, and we never will. There's rumors and speculation that come next month, they're going to try a national lockdown.
Rumors and speculation? I honestly don't remember them talking about a national lockdown like that late into the pandemic. He was saying that this is going to happen in September of 2021. Yeah, I don't remember that. Maybe there was speculation and it's just me. Personally, I suspect that he's just using this as a persecution complex thing. He's trying to make people feel like they're persecuted, make his church feel that way. Because as we all know, persecution complexes fuel loyalty and brotherhood and camaraderie within groups. If they believe they're persecuted, they will donate harder. So cults tend to use the persecution complex against the members all the time. It seems to me that's probably what he's doing. Even if there was a lockdown proposed or speculated about at this time, he's still using it as part of the persecution complex either way. Let's keep listening.
United States of America, that includes churches. A national lockdown. Well, let me tell you something. When the Luciferians...
Oh, here we go. Luciferians. Yeah, he's a QAnoner. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. He's a member of QAnon, a full-blown QAnon believer. But it gets more interesting. I'll get there. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Keep listening.
When the Luciferians tried to shut down churches last year, we didn't bow then, and we won't bow now. You can mark my words. In fact, let me tell you what's going to happen if these Luciferians try to shut down this church.
Absolutely part of the persecution complex. Whether the lockdown really was speculated at the time or not, he is absolutely most definitely using it as a point of persecution. And he seems to think that the lockdown is all about him and his church. Luciferians, quote-unquote, Satan worshippers and demons within government are trying to force churches to shut down permanently. That's what he believes. That's what he's saying when he says Luciferians.
We will have church every single night while there's a national lockdown. Every single night there will be church in this house. You say, Jackson, that's really excessive to have church every single night. You know what's excessive? Trying to shut down the church. That's really excessive in my mind.
See, that's the fundamental misunderstanding here. Nobody wanted to shut down any churches. None. Zero. At any point in time ever in the United States, at least during the pandemic, nobody has tried to shut down churches. All we wanted was for you to do Zoom meetings temporarily until the pandemic got under control because people were dying. And guess what? Churches refused to do that, some of them. And as a result, people like John MacArthur, Tony Spell, a whole bunch of other churches that I've been covering since the pandemic took place, a whole bunch of them refused and acted as super spreaders. They acted as super spreader events during a worldwide pandemic. And up to this moment, it looks like we've got 966,000 COVID deaths. At least some portion of those deaths are on your conscience, Jackson Lahmeyer. Your conscience. Even if you didn't keep your doors open during COVID, which I believe he did, but even if he hadn't, this kind of rhetoric right here fueled the culture war and made people more willing to not wear masks. In fact, it made them more willing to cause a scene in stores if they were asked to wear a mask or to do basic stuff, social distancing or whatever else. Some number of those 966,000 deaths are in your conscience.
We didn't bow then. We will not bow now. We've made up our minds. Well, it's just 30 days. Don't touch the church of the Lord Jesus Christ.
You don't have to cancel all church services. Nobody ever asked that of you. We just asked for you to go to Zoom meetings temporarily for 30 days so that you could actually literally save people's lives, prevent them from dying. That is the request. You can't do something so simple and basic and straightforward and kind to your fellow man as going on Zoom to save people's lives for 30 days. Going on Zoom for 30 days, all we were asking. Can't even do that.
You touch the church, you are a dead man walking, because God loves his church. And this church will stay open. You can mark my word.
Once again, it was just a point of persecution. He was just trying to make his flock feel like they're persecuted so that he could whip them into a blood frenzy and get them to donate or do whatever he asked, basically. That's how this stuff works, okay? So I wanted to give you a little bit of background into who Jackson Lahmeyer is, give you an idea of some of the things that he believes, some of the things he espoused throughout the course of the pandemic. Here's something else. Early January 2022. This is a newer one. And remember, like I said, guy's running for Congress. That's why we're talking about him. He's running for Congress. Check this out.
I'm going to do everything in my power. This is short-term goals.
Short-term goals for when he wins his election.
Everything in my power to go after Anthony Fauci. If you've been following me at all, you know I have been very strong and very bold in saying that Fauci is one of the greatest mass murderers in human history. He's up there with the big boys such as Hitler and Stalin and Mao. Fauci is a mass murderer. Fauci needs to be fired, he needs to be arrested, and he needs to be convicted of crimes against humanity. So those are three early goals that I want to tackle early on.
Wait. That was one goal, I believe, not three. But not going to poke holes, not going to go there. Let's just continue. This hate campaign against Fauci is absolutely disgusting to me. It is so incredibly wrong that they would relentlessly attack somebody who is simply a doctor trying to help people, trying to make this pandemic easier for everybody, trying to help guide our way through it. That is all Fauci was trying to do. That's it. And they have successfully, seemingly, demonized the guy to the point that he needs personal security 24/7. It's grotesque. It's wrong. And it is a direct result, at least in part, of Rand Paul and his hate campaign against Fauci. I feel so bad for Fauci. I always try to find like a silver lining behind every bad situation like this. What's the silver lining for Fauci? What is it? There is none. Dude just became the target of an absolutely unhinged, insane hate campaign. What is the silver lining here? There is none. And it's honestly disgusting that this guy is continuing that hate campaign and trying to get elected off of it. Off of those three goals. Firing Dr. Fauci. I guess those are the three goals. Fire him. Now, here's the thing about Jackson Lahmeyer. Here's where it gets interesting. He's been trying to cozy up to QAnon for a long, long time. He's been trying to get close to QAnon for a while, which, in my opinion, is probably a bad idea because this group of people, QAnon, is unhinged from reality and dangerous, genuinely dangerous. And unfortunately for Jackson Lahmeyer, he learned that the hard way because on July 7th, 9:35 a.m., he had to post to Facebook something that was going on with him regarding QAnon. He's been talking about how great all of these QAnon ideas are. He's been taking endorsements from QAnon celebrities and all this stuff this entire time. This is July 7th, 2021, by the way, when he had to post this Facebook post. Well, all of that came to a head and bit him in the on July 7th when he posted this on Facebook. The ugly side of politics. Last week I posted this pic of Eva out on the campaign trail with me, and she was so proud of her red shoes because it matched the colors of the Lahmeyer for Senate gear. This is the picture. His daughter went to like one of his campaign events, and she was wearing this dress and these red shoes, right? So anyways, yeah, he brought his daughter to one of his campaign events. She's wearing red shoes. Well, guess what? Red shoes mean something to QAnon. Let's keep reading. It was a harmless post, but there's an individual out there who's been spreading things about me that are not true, such as I am a creation worshiper, a New World Order globalist, and more nonsensical stuff. Oh, it's nonsensical when you're the target, huh? But it's not nonsensical when Dr. Fauci's the target. Okay, that checks out. This person's also been spreading the narrative that I'm involved in CSA and CST. I guess red shoes represent, according to this individual, yes, that's correct. Actually, according to QAnon as a whole, they do. Yes. Red shoes represent CSA according to QAnon. I honestly am surprised he didn't know that already since he's been cozying up to them so much. He probably should have researched QAnon a little more thoroughly before going out there and cozying up to them so that he would know exactly what to do and what not to do to get on their bad side. Sadly for him, he went in completely oblivious, brought his kid to an event with red shoes. That's on you, bro. That's on you. I've been in ministry for years, never any accusations whatsoever. Now all of a sudden I'm being accused of everything under the sun by one particular woman, and some people don't have enough discernment to determine right from wrong. That's QAnon, man. That's an overarching conspiracy theory, an all-encompassing conspiracy theory. That's what that is. QAnon is an all-encompassing conspiracy theory, and you should have known that it would turn on you. I honestly can't believe he didn't see this coming. So yeah, he really got it good from QAnon. They laid into him. They didn't trust him for a long time. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Okay, so this post came out July 7th, 2021, right? Now we have to talk about Michael Flynn, because Michael Flynn got himself all mixed in this Lahmeyer campaign thing. I'm not sure if you guys remember Michael Flynn, but he was a general, I think a 4-star general, and he wasn't he charged with treason or something? He was charged with something really serious. I don't remember what it was, by the U.S. government, because he was acting as a foreign agent for another country while he worked for the U.S. government. It was a really, really big deal. And Obama warned Trump when coming in. He was like, something's going on with Flynn. We were in the process of investigating it. Don't trust him. He's working for a foreign country and hasn't told anybody. And what did Trump do? Instantly trusted him because Obama didn't trust him. Genius move. That's where hating your enemy or owning the libs gets you. Nonsense land every time. So back to Michael Flynn. After Flynn was pardoned by Donald Trump for whatever it was that he got in trouble for, acting as a foreign agent, or whatever it was, I don't remember now. After getting pardoned by Donald Trump, Michael Flynn starts throwing himself into the QAnon world, making appearances on all of these QAnon podcasts, taking this oath that conspicuously sounds an awful lot like a QAnon oath. And I'm not saying that he was taking the QAnon oath or that he was trying to signal that he wanted to be a part of QAnon. I'm just saying QAnoners say this oath a lot of the time. And weirdly, out of nowhere, Michael Flynn and his family members all stand in front of a camera right when QAnon is coming up to be at its peak of popularity, and he does the oath, the same oath that QAnon members give all the time.
I, Jackson Lahmeyer, do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So it sounds like a normal oath right now, right? We're about to get to the part where it morphs into a QAnon oath.
Where we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all.
That's the part that makes it the QAnon oath. Not just that, but the way that the sentences are structured and everything. It all is part of QAnon. It was a QAnon oath. Don't know if maybe he found the oath online and thought, hey, I like that. That's an oath to America, and I love America, so I'm just going to say that. Maybe he had no idea it was QAnon. Who knows? I can tell you this. He sued the last organization who said that he took a QAnon oath. So I'm not saying that he did that. I'm just saying, QAnon says an oath and then Flynn says an oath, and they sounded very similar. It's just a coincidence. Anyway, after he took that QAnon oath, he was incredibly well known in the QAnon world. Like, people were flocking to him. They were talking about him all over the place. Every appearance that he made on these podcasts and everything, the QAnon world was just going nuts over everything that he said, right? Early February 2021, he goes on this podcast to talk about some of the claims that QAnon makes, and he wanted to actually debunk some of the claims. So listen to this.
I'm just going to ask you some questions, and I want you to just tell me if it's nonsense or if there was anything to it at all. Number one, did President Trump ever sign into action the Insurrection Act?
No. Nonsense.
Nonsense. Is the United States military running the country or just is that nonsense as well?
More nonsense.
Good to hear.
More nonsense. There's no plan. There's no there's so many people out there. Is the plan happening? There's no, we have what we have, and we have to accept the situation as it is.
So to me, what he did there, it doesn't really come across as him like denouncing or debunking QAnon. It comes across more as him trying to shape QAnon, shape the beliefs and the ideology, trying to make it more focused into something that's more usable by people in power in the movement. That's my opinion. I don't know. Who knows? That's just what I took from it. And people were talking about it after that. After his appearances, they were dissecting everything that he said. Big QAnoners, like people who've written books about QAnon and stuff. They were dissecting it, trying to figure out what he meant and all of that stuff. Like the praying medic. He's a big deal in this movement. And that brings us to our last clip. Who is showing up at Jackson Lahmeyer's campaign events but Michael Flynn, the de facto king of QAnon himself? Whether it's self-defined or not, a lot of people in QAnon absolutely love this dude. Whether he even wants to be a part of it or not, completely irrelevant. QAnon follows him around like a puppy dog, and he decided to do an appearance at Jackson Lahmeyer's campaign event. He's even wearing a Lahmeyer shirt. So let's see what Flynn had to say at Jackson Lahmeyer's campaign event, early March 2022.
You read all these things. You study the history of this country. You study how it was founded. That's why the word creator is in the Constitution 4 times.
What? 4? No, it's in there 0 times, actually, now that I think about it. It's not in the Constitution at all.
Right, we are endowed by our Creator.
Isn't that the Declaration of Independence? This guy was a 4-star general, wasn't he? Or 3-star or 4-star, something like that. He was real high up in government. He should know. I would be surprised if he didn't know that the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are different. Aside from that, doesn't Creator only show up that one time in the Declaration of Independence? Where did he get this 4 times figure? It's just propaganda. It's simply propaganda.
When you look at the Bill of Rights, I want you, next time you look at the Bill of Rights, in fact, tonight when you go home, look at the Bill of Rights and lay the 10 Commandments right down next to them. Okay? Put them right next to each other. And you'll get a sense of how they developed the Bill of Rights.
No, the Bill of Rights were absolutely not based on the Bible. The Bible is antithetical to the Bill of Rights. The Bible does not support human rights. It's not about human rights. It's about loving Jesus and nothing else. So I honestly have no idea where that came from. But it gets weirder. Keep listening.
This is a war that we're in. This is a big-time spiritual war. People like Nancy Pelosi, she's a demon. You know?
They literally believe this. They literally believe, QAnon, that Nancy Pelosi is a demon. that she is a demon in human skin, but they love Kenneth Copeland. How did they get here? How did they get to this point? They got to this point, in my opinion, by cynical people at the top exploiting their gullibility. It's truly sad to see such a large group of people fall for such a ridiculous ruse. And now they're continuing to support these candidates. Michael Flynn, one of the most respected people on the planet in the eyes of QAnoners, is campaigning for a U.S. Congressman, Jackson Lahmeyer, Pastor Jackson Lahmeyer. And for the record, here's his ballotpedia. His election is in 2022. Primary will occur June 28th, 2022. Candidate, U.S. Senate, Oklahoma elections and appointments. So it looks like he's a candidate for the U.S. Senate in Oklahoma. That's not a state representative. That's a federal representative. June 28th, 2022. If you're in Oklahoma, get out there and vote against him.